Hey there, Fletcher from All Things Overlanding here, and today I'm going to be talking about packing for overlanding trips. I see questions all the time in my group, Newbie Overlanders, from people saying, how do you pack? Do you do crates? Do you do this? Do you do that? Do you keep stuff in your vehicle? Do you, make it modular so you can take it in and out? So I'm getting ready to pack for a 2-night, 3-day trip, just a quick weekender. So I figured I'd take you guys along with me, kind of show you all my solutions for packing, kind of the way that I do it, the things that I bring with me. So if you want to learn more about packing, kind of how I do it, and some tips and tricks, stay tuned.
Understand where it came from, but you got it, my got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you gave to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, so I'm going to sort of start this episode by walking you around the truck and describing and talking about the different types of solutions that I've got for storage on the truck currently. Now, if you're on the podcast, again, I'm going to describe everything, so don't feel bad. If you're on YouTube, it's a video. You can see it. Same with Spotify. But I'm just going to kind of walk you around to show you my default storage solutions that I've already got on the truck. Then I'm going to actually bring out the stuff that I add. So the stuff that I have to pack every single time I go on a trip, I will show you that as well. So I'm going to kind of go through the whole thing. So let's start here at the back of the truck. Of course, I drive a 2023 Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. Love the truck. It's been super reliable. I've got 30,000 miles on it now, and I'm getting ready to go on my first fall trip of 2025, which I'm psyched about. So I'm going to have to switch out some gear. Now, that is one thing to keep in mind, is that you're probably, if you go year round, you're going to have summer gear and then you're going to have winter gear, right? You're going to have different clothing for each different season. So there is some modularity in that, and it is kind of nice if you've got, less of a permanent solution like my drawer system, then you could just have like a summer bin. So, I have this Zargus case that has some recovery stuff in it. I have this open road waterproof storage case, which I use sometimes for like rain type material and stuff. I've got my recovery bag back here, which goes on pretty much every trip. But so there's everything from hard cases to, aluminum cases to soft cases. There's just a ton of different ways to store gear. I mean, you can spend hundreds of dollars on, the fully waterproof Roam cases, or $150-ish on that open road that I just showed you. Or you can get Plano crates for about $40-50, and I'll put links again to all this stuff in the description down below, but they are pretty much waterproof, not 100%. You can't submerge them or anything, but they will sit in the back of a truck and not get your stuff wet. You can keep everything dry, but where I'm going with that is you can keep your summer stuff in one Plano crate that's very inexpensive, and then for summer, you can take that out when the weather turns cold, and you can swap in a different crate with all your fall stuff or your winter stuff. That may include heated blankets, different clothing, rain jackets for, spring, whereas you may not need that later on in the year. So, you can have some seasonality if your packing style is more modular and more of like I swap everything into the truck whenever I want to go. Now, as you can see, again, if you're watching on YouTube, or as you can hear on the podcast, I have this really massive drawer system. And I'm going to open this up and kind of show you. I've done videos on this before. It's got a ton of room in it. I custom built this thing, which means it's really heavy. This is 3/4 inch plywood all the way around. And then I essentially rhino lined mine, which has made it completely waterproof. I have no leaks. It's been in here for about 2 years now. I've never had a leak in it or anything. I also built adjustable pocket hold dividers, so I can move this wherever I want. And I set this up so that all my bathroom stuff, my toilet and everything, can go up here in the front. I've got a urinal because I'm a man and I drink beer and I don't want to get down from the tent. And then I've got all my cooking stuff back here. I've got a little fire pit. I've got some tools, so sockets, tire repair stuff. So if I ever need that stuff, I've got it in the back ready to go. I've also got more tools back here in the back. There's some wrenches and things like that, and even some fuses and that sort of thing. So if I ever pop a fuse, if I ever need to do some basic repairs or trail side repairs, I've got everything that I need in the drawers. The nice thing about that is this stuff's heavy. I don't want to have to move this in and out every single time. So again, this stuff is prioritized because I always need kitchen gear. I always want to have my propane campfire in case, I can't have a wood fire for some reason, if there's a burn ban, or if I don't have any firewood, or I don't have a way to process it. And you always want your bathroom, right? So again, the stuff that I'm always going to use, I prioritize and keep in my drawer system. Now, as you can see, if you're looking at this on YouTube, I've got plenty of room in here for other stuff. So when the time comes for a trip, I may put like bread in here if I'm making sandwiches, or buns if I'm doing hamburgers, or warm stuff that doesn't need to be refrigerated can go in here on top of the open spaces. So you've got plenty of room to add additional stuff. Now, on the other side of my drawer system, This is where I've got pretty much everything else that I need for every trip. Now, I've currently got 2 fire pits because I've been kind of comparing this Ignik to that Camp Lux, and I'm not sure which one I like the best yet. So I do have 2 of those. I've also got leveling blocks back there, which again, I keep in the truck because you never know when you're going to need them. So they're in the very back of the drawers. So if I do need them, they're there. And if not, they're out of the way. Then I've got 2 chairs. I've got 2 Helinox chairs and a Helinox table. I've got a jump starter. So just in case something were to happen to my truck and I would kill the battery somehow, I've got a jump starter to get that going. I've got flashlights here on the side that I keep stored that also function as light for the drawer. I keep my Hess pillow in here because it doesn't quite fit in the rooftop tent when it's closed. So that is one thing that I have to bring down here. Then I've also got my bug spray. This all is sort of like soap, bug spray, that kind of thing. This is a camp lantern down here. So one of those extendable Bouge RV camp lanterns. And then this over here is food. So there's some canned goods in here. There's some freeze-dried stuff in there. That is more of like a backup, just in case. So if I'm on a trip and I end up stopping an extra day or something and I don't happen to have anything, or restaurants are closed or it's too late, then I've got options for food that I can eat. And then this little bag here is sort of toilet paper and trash bags. So this is all my stuff related to bathroom stuff to have as a backup. Now, I keep this all stocked. So again, the fact that I keep this in the car means that you do have to be aware of what you have and what you're running out of. So as you get low on trash bags, or you get low on toilet paper, you get low on paper towels or soap, then you need to be aware of that and you need to refill it and keep it refilled so that you're ready to go. Back here, we've got a ton of microfiber towels. I've got these Wise Owl microfiber towels, which I love. This is like body soap and shampoo stuff. I've got a bunch of these Bouge RV small LED magnetic lantern lights that are awesome just for like throwing up around camp or magnetizing to the side of the vehicle if you need them. I've got some first aid stuff. I've got a little headlamp, and then this is a pump. So if I do have an air mattress that I keep uninflated up in the tent. I don't have to use an air pump. You can blow it up, but sometimes it's just tiring. So it's easier just to grab a little air pump and just air it up. But sometimes I'm lazy and I just blow it up when I get up there. Or maybe I've had a few beers and so I don't worry about it, and then I just sleep on the stock mattress. But I have options, right? And I always have that stuff with me. Now, another thing is with electrical things that you're going to store, you need to also keep track of state of charge for those. Now, if you have a dual battery system or you have a portable battery that you bring on trips, then that gives you some options to charge. But what if you get to camp late and it's nighttime and your headlamp's dead and your lantern's dead and everything's dead? So I do take these things out every once in a while. Generally after a trip, if I use them for a fair amount of time, I will just bring them in when I get home, charge everything up, and then reload them back in the drawers. Now, of course, if you have modular storage, you're going to be bringing everything in anyway. So what I would do is I would try and keep all the things that need recharged in one bin. So, have an electric bin, have a bin that has your flashlights, your bug repellents, your lighters, anything that needs recharged. If you have those electric lighters, you may want to keep that in there. I've got this other lamp in here, so like just keep that stuff somewhere where you can easily charge it, just so that you can make it easier on yourself when you get home, bring everything in, and then just get everything on a quick charger and be ready for the next trip. But so prioritizing and thinking about your gear, regardless of whether you're going to store it full time in the vehicle like I do with the drawers, or if you're going to take it in bins, you still need to think about sort of how everything is packed. Is it packed seasonally? Is it packed based on charging needs, things like that? And then, just use that train of thought when you are packing your gear. Now, you'll notice up here on top of my drawer system, I've got this T-mat stuff, which I love. It's got these different blockers in here, basically. This is actually made for my chainsaw. So my chainsaw back here comes in this case, and that thing actually will fit right in between these blockers. So I've set them up to be perfectly fit to hold that chainsaw. So basically I pop this one out, I slide the chainsaw back in between those two, and then I put this back in, and that blocks the chainsaw in. So I can really quickly throw it in the back when I'm ready to go on a trip and want to process wood. Now, another thing that I keep on my truck at all times is a 5-pound propane tank. And the reason for this is, again, there have been times where I've been on a trip and I decided to take an extra night and stop and camp. And maybe at that place I didn't have any firewood because it's like a state park or a national park or something like that, and you can't have fires. So then with my propane fire pits in my drawer and having 5 pounds of propane, I have some options where I can run it for a pretty good amount of time on that. I also use that for cooking. So I carry a couple of 1-pound propane tanks with me just because they're a little bit easier to use when you're cooking. But I also have the hose adapter for this thing, and I keep it at the back so that it's right here where I'm cooking on the tailgate, so I can hook it up to that if I need to cook. So I always have that with me. I've also got this top oak water tank. And this thing is really, really nice. I don't really use it for potable water. I use it for like showering. I use it for cleaning dishes and things. But you could, it is sealed and you could use it for cooking and stuff like that. But I generally just use it for like showering and cleaning off dishes because it is a big tank. So I've just got this thing on here all the time, and every time I come home, I just refill it with water so that I've got some water that I don't have to worry about, because part of the difficulty with going on these trips is water, right? Like it's really hard to bring mass quantities of water with you. And if you're going to shower, if you're going to clean dishes and stuff, then you're going to go through a fair amount of water. So again, when I bring my water tank, I have a Rotopax 5-gallon camp jug that I throw up on my Rotopax mount over here, but I bring that for like cooking, for emergencies, for that kind of thing. But then if it's a longer trip and I've only got 5 gallons, if I'm showering and cleaning dishes and drinking that water, it's going to go really, really fast, versus having this water tank just dedicated for all things shower and cleaning, and then the other one dedicated just to drinking water and cooking water. It just makes my life a little bit easier and makes it easier for me to ensure that I'm not going to run out of water. Now, one other thing to mention that not a lot of people talk about is that, everybody hates on rooftop tents. They say that they're just useless and you got to climb a ladder and what a pain in the butt and stuff. But one thing that I really like about rooftop tents, and why I have become a rooftop tent person and will be for as long as I possibly can, is it's another storage option for me. So I keep a ton of stuff up in my rooftop tent. I've got charging cords. I've got this cool little electrical bag that holds all of them in there. So I basically keep all my bedding up there. I've got an inflatable mattress that's deflated, so it doesn't take up hardly any room. I've got a double Hest comforter up there, so I'm pretty much good until we get down into like the 20s and 30s. And at that point, I'm probably bringing a diesel heater anyways, again, switching from that summer to winter stuff. And that I would just need to pack individually, and that'd be something I'd add to the truck later when I'm going on that kind of trip when it's going to be cold. But the rooftop tent just adds a ton of storage and gets rid of that bulky bedding stuff for the most part, which makes it really easy for me to get packed and ready to go. So up front here, I've also got the Victory 4x4 Molly panel. I've put it on the driver's side. I've not installed it on the passenger side yet, but I've got a couple of knives on there, a fixed blade and a pocket knife. So I've got options there for those so that I don't have to worry about remembering those when I'm going on a trip. I've got my Garmin in here, which I just leave in here 24/7. One thing to think about too is it kind of depends on where you live, right? I live in a neighborhood and I've never had any problems with theft or anything, but I still try not to leave too much stuff on my truck all the time. But obviously, if you live in some place where you're not comfortable having all your stuff on, then you're going to have to some degree, be a little modular and be prepared to remove your stuff in between trips. Also on the side of my extrusion rack here, I've got a couple of sets of quick fists. These are generally for a shovel and an axe. So I generally bring an axe for splitting wood, chainsaw to process the wood and cut it up, axe to then split that wood, and then the shovel for, if I need to dig out a bunch of ashes from a fire pit, or if I need to put out a fire or do something with that, then I've got a shovel that I can use for that. So then as far as how I pack the rest of the truck, it really kind of depends on whether you're bringing people with you, if my kids are coming or not. On most of my trips, I'm solo, which makes things way easier for me. But if you have a family, then you've got to be aware of that. You're not going to have back seats, front seat, that kind of thing. Now, in this case, I'm bringing this new Bouge RV heated blanket that I got with me because I want to test it out this weekend. It's going to be down in the 30s and 40s. So I'm going to take that, and I'll pack most of that sort of stuff, but like just for this trip stuff in my back seat. And then in addition to that, I've got my Starlink because I'm going to be doing some work and I like to be able to get connected if I need to. Got this cool, got this backpack that I did a video on that I'll throw a card up to here if you are on YouTube. But this has the Starlink, all the charging cables. It has a built-in battery from Peak Dew on it. So this thing is pretty much all in one. And then I'm able to just throw this out here as a backpack, throw it in the back seat. And if I need the Starlink, I've got it. Now, I've talked about this before, but eventually I do plan to get an enclosed cap on the rear. And when I do that, I'm going to be able to build even more stuff into here. So that is another option. You've got modular, you've got drawer systems, you've got portable storage cases like the Open Road, like Roam cases, like Plano crates. So you've got a bunch of options there. But don't forget that if you want to do some sort of an enclosed cap, if you've got a truck or if you've got an SUV and you want to do full built-ins, you could literally get pretty much all of your camping gear in here if you have room for it and be ready to go at the drop of a hat if you want to go on a trip, which is kind of my preference, right? Is just be ready to go, grab a backpack or two, a couple of spare things, a diesel heater if it's winter, pop it into the truck and be ready to go. All right, so then a couple other things that I'm bringing on this trip. I did get this new moonshade in this cool orange color, and it's Halloween time. It's October, so I'm going to bring this because we're going to be there for 2 nights, 3 days. So I'm going to set up my regular awning, my rain outdoor awning, which is awesome. Link in the description below, same to this. But I'm gonna have that set up on the other side, but then on this side, I'm gonna set it up as well. So I've got full coverage. I can set up tables underneath. We're gonna cook food. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna have a good time. Again, it's the first trip for fall, which is my favorite camping season. So we're going big on this one. So I'm gonna bring this with me. And then in addition to that, I've got my Peak Designs backpack with all my camera gear in it. And because I'm a YouTuber, you know, I've got to have all my camera gear. I'm going to be shooting some gear videos. I'm going to be shooting some videos about camping, some trip videos, probably a podcast or two. So I'm bringing all that stuff as well. So that stuff always goes in the truck early. So again, in my case, most of the stuff always ready to go. There are some things that then I throw in that are a little bit seasonally dependent, like the awning. If I need one for a trip, an extra one in addition to my mounted one. If not, I've got the mounted one and I've got 270 degrees of coverage with that. So again, I've always got that built in. Same with a shower tent. I didn't mention it, but I've got a shower tent on the side of the truck as well. And again, that just is always on there. I may not need to use it. I may be out there solo and there's nobody around and I don't need it. Or, you know, you may want it for privacy, or if you're taking a shower, or if you're with buddies and you want a private space to use for the bathroom. You've got that if it's mounted. If not, you're going to need to bring one of those portable ones with you, but just something to think about. Of course, once you get those few things loaded in your car, then there are still going to be last minute things that you need to pack. So I'm about 3 days out from this trip. So I'm not going to fill up my Rotopax water jug yet because I don't want that water to get stale and gross or get anything in it. So I'm just going to wait until the day of. Usually I will fill up my water jugs. I have one last backpack. So I just have sort of like my camping backpack, which is where I will put all the rest of my stuff. So anything that I think of that day, if I want to bring a book with me to read, if I want to bring a charging bank or something, like a little small one for my phone in case my battery starts to die as I'm shooting videos or as I'm watching YouTube or something, you know, then I want to have a little power bank. I may do that. Cigars I may bring beer and things. Food the day of, I will pack that food and put that in the fridge, but I usually don't get that too early, but you can. If you've got the battery capacity, if you've got a dual battery setup, then you can, you know, turn on your fridge days early. I do like to do that sometimes where I'll just go ahead and go 2-3 days out, get my food, throw it in the fridge and be good to go. But it just depends, right? If you're getting fresh hamburger or fresh steak, you don't want to buy that a week and a half, 2 weeks out, because even in a fridge, it's not going to be the freshest. It's not going to be great when you go. So usually food is one of those things that I wait till the end to get as well. So food, water, final backpack. That's kind of the last things that I pack. How do you guys do it? Post up in the comments below if you're on YouTube. If you're on the podcast, jump over to my social channels and you'll see that I post them there. Same with newbie overlanders. There will be a post there with this in it at some point. But post up and let me know how you guys do, or post up in the comments down below on YouTube or Spotify and let me know what you guys do. Do you pack everything way in advance? Do you like to wait till the last minute and do everything then? I personally, again, like to just be ready to go at a moment's notice, pack as little as possible and then go. So hopefully that was kind of informational for you. Hopefully that helps kind of show what I do. No expert here, right? But I've been doing it for a few years, and this is kind of how I've chosen to do it, kind of how I've evolved to pack my camping gear. So again, I hope that was helpful for you. If it was and you're on YouTube, click that like button. If you are on the podcast, leave a 5-star review or drop a comment. All those things help. And I'd love to have you if you want to add it to one of your favorite podcasts. Be great. So that'll do it for packing for overlanding and camping trips. All right, guys. So as you saw, there are tons of ways, from drawer systems to rucks containers to backpacks to just all different kinds of ways to pack. I personally sort of tend to try and keep as much stuff in the truck as possible because oftentimes it's last minute for me and I just want to jump out and go camping and not have to worry about spending 4 hours getting everything into the truck. So I try and keep as much on my truck as possible, but your needs may be different. You may have to use your vehicle to transport kids or family members around and not have room to have a drawer system and all that stuff. You may need to use your truck as an actual truck, which I can't really do. So if that's the case, take these things with a grain of salt. And again, hopefully some of them give you ideas and help you come up with ways to improve your setup and possibly save you money. So anything I talked about in the video, in the podcast, will be in the description down below. Also in the description down below will be links to all my social channels. So wherever you want to come hang out, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, I'm all over the place, plus YouTube, of course, and podcast channels. So wherever you want to hang out, I'm there. And I'd love to have you guys follow along and join the conversation. Also below this video is a link to my website where I've got funny overlanding camping themed patches and stickers, things like "Don't burn your wiener and it's a hot dog," or "I hate people so I camp." So if you're into that kind of stuff, if you want to decorate your rig or your bag, definitely check those out. They're pretty cool, and I ship them out fast. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, there is a join button below this video, which is just sort of a passive way to support the channel. And it also gives you early access to all the content that I make, not just the podcast, but everything else. So if that sounds good, definitely consider clicking on that. Now, if you're just listening on the podcast and you want to be more involved, there's also a link to my Patreon, which is awesome. We've got a ton of awesome folks in there. We joke around all day. We share memes. We are going on a couple of in-person trips every year. And we also do a monthly Zoom call just to kind of hang out, drink a beer, and just chat about rigs, life, and that sort of thing. So if that sounds good, click through that Patreon link. And then last but not least, I mentioned it in the beginning of this video, but I have a group called Newbie Overlanders. It's got over 27,000 people in it at the time that I'm recording this. And it's just awesome. If you are newer and you want to ask questions, that's a great place. Or if you're more experienced and you're tired of the big groups where everybody just bullies everybody relentlessly, then Newbie Overlanders might be right for you, and we'd love to have you. So check that out. But again, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening. I appreciate all of you, and we'll see you next week.